parler avec Monsieur Troy Landry, peut-être un des Cajuns, un des Louisianais les plus célèbres en ce moment en français cajun. Bonjour.
Bonjour, comment ça va?
Ça va très bien.
Ça va bien.
For more than 30 years, Troy Landry has been a legend in the swamps of Louisiana. Known to millions through swamp people, fans have watched him navigate the treacherous waters, track elusive alligators, and live a life seemingly defined by grit, skill, and an unbreakable connection to the bayou. To outsiders, Troy appeared as a man entirely devoted to the swamp, living off the land and passing down a legacy of survival and tradition. But behind the camera, there was a side of Troy that few could have imagined. For 3 decades, he lived a double life, a private world completely separate from the swamp, his family, and the fame that followed. What he kept hidden wasn't scandalous, but it was personal, surprising, and, in some ways, life-altering. For 30 years, no one outside a trusted circle knew about the choices, sacrifices, and relationships that quietly shaped him. This revelation forces fans to reconsider everything they thought they knew about Troy Landry. The man who faced alligators with fearless determination also navigated a complex private life that few suspected. Now, for the first time, the full story is emerging, a glimpse into the unseen influences, personal challenges, and hidden truths that shaped a man who became a television icon while keeping a private life entirely out of view. To the world, Troy Landry is the quintessential swamp hunter, fearless, resourceful, and deeply connected to Louisiana's bayou. His life on television highlights skill, tradition, and dedication to a craft that has been passed down for generations. Fans admire his ability to tackle dangerous waters, catch massive alligators, and navigate the complexities of a profession few understand. Yet, behind the scenes, Troy maintained a private life that few ever glimpsed. For 30 years, this dual existence was carefully hidden from the public, creating a contrast between the legend seen on screen and the man living in secrecy. Friends and colleagues reveal that while his public life emphasized skill, tradition, and dedication to family and swamp culture, his private life involved activities, decisions, and relationships that were never meant for public consumption. These hidden elements were not contradictory to his persona, but they were separate, carefully compartmentalized, and shielded from fans and media. Maintaining this boundary allowed Troy to fully commit to both worlds without one interfering with the other. Subtle hints of this double life appeared over the years. Certain trips, unexplained absences, and decisions that seemed unusual at the time were all part of a pattern. Observers occasionally noticed discrepancies, but Troy's meticulous planning and private nature ensured that no one could connect the dots. Even those closest to him on Swamp People admit that they were unaware of the full scope of his personal world. His life outside the swamp was like a hidden layer, shaping decisions, relationships, and priorities while remaining completely out of view. A critical factor in maintaining this dual life was Troy's discipline and foresight. He knew that a public persona, especially one as revered as his, comes with scrutiny and expectation. Fans admired his bravery, skill, and connection to the swamp, but these qualities alone couldn't accommodate the full complexity of his private pursuits. By separating the public and private spheres, Troy preserved autonomy, protecting his personal choices while still fulfilling the role fans celebrated. This double life also added a level of strategy to his daily routine. While the world saw him braving dangerous waters and facing extreme challenges on television, he was simultaneously navigating personal obligations, financial decisions, and private relationships that required secrecy and discretion. Balancing these worlds required planning, patience, and self-awareness, qualities that few fans could have recognized while watching him on screen. Maintaining privacy for 3 decades was no small task. Troy understood that revealing this hidden life prematurely could create misunderstanding, misinterpretation, or controversy. Silence was a tool, allowing him to control when and how the truth would emerge. His careful approach ensured that when the revelation finally came, it would be understood in context, not as scandal, but as a layer of his life that had always existed beneath the surface. The revelation of Troy Landry's double life challenges perceptions of what it means to be authentic. Fans are now beginning to understand that the fearless, tough persona they saw on Swamp People was only part of a much larger, nuanced reality. The man who caught alligators with unmatched skill also carried hidden responsibilities, private ambitions, and personal connections that shaped his decisions. This first glimpse into his hidden world sets the stage for understanding the full story. Troy's private life, while hidden for decades, provides insight into his resilience, discipline, and intelligence. What comes next will uncover the most surprising aspects of his double life, the secrets, relationships, and choices that defined him, off-camera, and ultimately shaped the legend that fans know today. While fans admired Troy Landry for his courage and skill on the swamp, very few realized the scope of his private life. For 30 years, he maintained activities and responsibilities that existed completely outside the public eye. These hidden pursuits ranged from personal projects to relationships and financial decisions that were carefully shielded from fans, media, and even some close colleagues. The contrast between the rugged, fearless hunter on television and the man managing a complex private world made his story all the more remarkable. Insiders reveal that one of the reasons Troy kept this double life was freedom. By separating his public persona from his private affairs, he was able to make choices without scrutiny or expectation. While fans saw him as fully devoted to the swamp and his craft, his private endeavors allowed him autonomy, the ability to take risks, pursue opportunities, and maintain control over his personal life. In many ways, this dual existence was a carefully orchestrated strategy, allowing him to live fully in both spheres without compromise. Part of his hidden life involved personal relationships that were never publicized. Close friends and family suggest that Troy made deliberate choices to protect these connections, ensuring they remained shielded from the pressures of fame. Maintaining privacy in these relationships was crucial. It allowed him to sustain bonds that were deeply meaningful without interference or judgment from the outside world. Even as his public persona demanded attention and exposure, these private relationships provided stability and perspective. Over the years, subtle signs hinted at this hidden dimension. Occasional trips away from the swamp, unexplained absences, and unusual decisions that didn't fit the public narrative were often dismissed as eccentricities or part of his off-screen personality. Yet, when viewed together, these patterns reveal a man who is consciously managing a complex life with multiple priorities. Troy's ability to keep these worlds separate required immense discipline, foresight, and emotional intelligence. Financially, too, Troy's private life was more intricate than fans might have imagined. While his on-screen image emphasized a simple, self-sufficient lifestyle, he had quietly made decisions to secure his future and protect his family. These were not ostentatious ventures, but carefully considered moves that allowed him to maintain the freedom necessary to live both publicly and privately. The secrecy surrounding these choices was deliberate, ensuring that public perception of him as a rugged swamp hunter remained intact. Fans' reactions to this revelation are a mix of surprise, curiosity, and admiration. Many express shock that a man so thoroughly devoted to the swamp could maintain such a hidden life for decades. Yet there is also respect for the care and discipline it took to balance these worlds. Unlike scandals that can tarnish reputations, Troy's secrecy reinforces his intelligence, resourcefulness, and commitment to both personal integrity and his public image. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of this double life is the emotional resilience it required. Juggling public expectations, professional responsibilities, and private pursuits for 30 years is no small feat. Sources close to Troy describe moments of pressure and tension, where the boundaries between the two worlds threatened to blur. Yet he consistently maintained separation, ensuring that neither side compromised the other. This balance is a testament to his strategic thinking, foresight, and unwavering commitment to protecting the people, projects, and principles that mattered most. Ultimately, this of Troy Landry's life reframes how fans view him. The man who navigated the dangerous waters of the swamp with courage and skill was also navigating a private world of equal complexity, managing relationships, responsibilities, and personal ambitions in secret. The hidden life adds nuance and depth, showing that Troy's strength was not only physical but also emotional and strategic. Will reveal the most shocking elements of his double life. The secrets and choices that no one expected and that forever change. How fans understand the legend of Troy Landry, the most shocking part of Troy Landry's double life isn't just the secret projects or private relationships. It's the decisions he made that no one ever imagined. Fans of Swamp People knew him as fearless, resourceful, and fully committed to the bayou. But for 30 years, he quietly navigated a world that existed entirely outside the swamp. What he kept hidden reshapes the story of his life, revealing a complexity that few could have predicted. One of the most surprising revelations involve financial decisions also played a significant role in his hidden life. While Troy projected a simple, self-sufficient lifestyle, he quietly managed ventures that secured his family's future. These weren't extravagant or attention-grabbing, but they were smart, strategic moves designed to ensure stability while allowing him to continue living publicly as a swamp hunter. It's a side of Troy that contradicts what many fans assumed. He wasn't only surviving. He was planning, protecting, and investing wisely behind the scenes. Another element of the double life involved personal sacrifices that the public never saw. Balancing a high-profile television career with private responsibilities meant that Troy often had to make tough choices, skip personal events, or delay personal goals. Sources close to him describe periods of stress and exhaustion, where the demands of the public world threatened to overwhelm the private one. Yet he maintained control, carefully compartmentalizing his responsibilities and ensuring that neither world compromised the other. This discipline reveals an emotional strength and strategic mind that few would associate with his on-screen persona. Relationships were also carefully managed. While the public saw Troy as devoted to his family and community, there were friendships, alliances, and private connections that he maintained quietly. These relationships were integral to his life, shaping decisions, offering guidance, and providing support. Protecting them from public scrutiny was crucial, and Troy succeeded in keeping these bonds intact while still living in the spotlight. This hidden network allowed him to operate in ways that most viewers could never imagine, adding depth to his character and explaining decisions that previously seemed puzzling. The emotional impact of living a double life for 3 decades cannot be understated. Juggling public expectations, private responsibilities, and personal ambitions created immense pressure. Yet Troy managed to navigate it successfully, demonstrating patience, resilience, and intelligence. His ability to maintain such secrecy while remaining authentic on screen shows a level of strategic thinking and self-control that few could achieve. Fans' reactions to learning about these hidden aspects are intense. There's surprise, certainly, but also admiration. What could have seemed like deception is now understood as careful balance and integrity. The revelation does not diminish Troy Landry's legacy. Instead, it adds layers of respect and understanding. The man viewers saw on television is only one part of a far more complex and remarkable story, one of discipline, foresight, and careful management of both public and private life. Sets the stage of Troy Landry's story, where the long-term consequences of living a double life are explored. The final revelations will focus on how these hidden choices shaped his legacy, relationships, and the way fans and the world ultimately see him today. The revelation of Troy Landry's double life, after 30 years, sent shockwaves through fans, the media, and even those closest to him. Suddenly, the man who had been admired for his fearless alligator hunting and intimate knowledge of the Louisiana swamps was seen in a new light as someone who had carefully balanced a private world alongside his public persona for decades. The impact of this disclosure was not just in the surprises it revealed, but in the dedication, discipline, and foresight required to maintain such a life. The first noticeable effect was on Troy's public image. Fans who had celebrated him solely for his swamp skills and daring exploits began to appreciate the strategic and personal dimensions of his life. Troy was not only a master of the bayou but also a man capable of managing complex private responsibilities and relationships in secrecy. Understanding this hidden life added depth to the admiration people felt for him, showing that his strength was not only physical but emotional and intellectual. The industry, too, had to reconsider their perspective. Producers, fellow hunters, and collaborators realized that many decisions that once seemed puzzling were shaped by unseen factors. Trips, personal projects, and financial decisions that had appeared isolated now had context. It became evident that Troy's hidden life had influenced the trajectory of his career. helping him sustain both his public persona and his private responsibilities with remarkable precision. Fans reacted with a mix of awe, surprise, and curiosity. Social media erupted as people pieced together clues from past interviews, episodes, and public appearances. Moments that had once seemed minor or unusual were now reinterpreted as deliberate, hidden components of a private life carefully balanced with his public duties. While some expressed disbelief at the extent of the secrecy, admiration grew for Troy's ability to maintain both worlds simultaneously without compromising integrity or authenticity. Living a double life for 3 decades was not without emotional and personal cost. Sources close to Troy revealed moments of stress and strain when the pressures of fame and the demands of his private life threatened to collide. Yet he consistently managed boundaries, demonstrating resilience, patience, and foresight. This balance was no accident. It was a reflection of his intelligence, strategic planning, and understanding of the responsibilities both to his family and his public image. The hidden life also had lasting effects on those around him. Relationships with family, friends, and colleagues were carefully managed to protect everyone involved, shielding them from unwanted scrutiny or pressure. Troy's ability to safeguard these connections while maintaining his high-profile career speaks to a level of discretion and self-awareness rarely seen in public figures. His hidden life was not just about personal survival. It was about protecting the people and projects he cared about most. Ultimately, this revelation transforms how fans perceive Troy Landry. The man who conquered the swamps with courage and skill is now recognized for his strategic mind, emotional resilience, and ability to balance 2 worlds for decades. His hidden life adds layers of depth and admiration, showing that behind every fearless hunter and public figure lies a complexity that shapes choices, actions, and legacy. The story of Troy Landry's double life is more than just a tale of secrecy. It is a lesson in discipline, foresight, and human resilience. It reminds fans that even those who appear fearless and single-minded often navigate unseen challenges and responsibilities. Troy's legacy, strengthened by the revelation of his private life, is not only about survival in the swamp, but also about navigating life with integrity, strategy, and care for others. In the end, the 30-year secret has reshaped the narrative of Troy Landry's life. Fans now understand that the man behind Swamp People is far more complex than the television persona suggests. He is a figure of courage, intelligence, and discretion. Someone who mastered not only the treacherous waters of the Louisiana swamps, but also the equally challenging waters of living a hidden life, while maintaining public respect and admiration. The legend of Troy Landry is now complete, enriched by the truth that had remained unseen for so long.